Hello there. Good morning or afternoon. Not afternoon yet. Um, this will be my first movie review I'm doing. Going into it extremely unprepared. I have no sleep on me at all either. I went last night with no sleep. But in any case, that's all very unimportant. This is a review for the Miyazaki movie Howl's Moving Castle. It is a movie that is adapted from a book. I can't remember the author's name. I'm sorry. I know the first name is Deanna. That's all I got. Terrible with names. Any case, starting off, very general things about the movie. It's a Miyazaki film, so that should already tell you a certain amount about it. If I had to compare it to other Miyazaki films, I'd say the most similar other film of his would be Spirited Away, for sure. Just make a couple of the characters a little bit older. Pretty much nailed it. There's magic and shit. I really don't need to get too much into the plot for this review. I don't think I might. No, if I do, then I'll get into that later. But in any case, very general plot summary. You got your main character, Sophie. She sees herself as a very plain, average girl. Her arc in the movie is that she comes to accept who she is and views herself as a unique enough and beautiful woman. There's also Howl, as part of the title. It's Howl's Moving Castle. Howl is a wizard. His castle moves. Imagine that. His castle is fueled by a fire demon shooting star thing. Kind of weird, but it works. It's cool. As far as side characters go, there is this little kid that lives with Howl. I guess he wasn't. It's never really explained why this kid lives with Howl. I'm assuming he was an orphan that Howl picked up at some point. It is said in the movie, however, that he is apprenticing with Howl to become a wizard of his own. But in any case, this kid doesn't really do too much directly related with the plot. He's not useless by any means, but yeah, so he's not too big a deal. There's also a scarecrow who, for the most part, isn't too big a deal. I mean, he helps out a bit. He's a really swag guy, but aside from that, not much. He comes into play at the very, very end of the movie in a big way, though. Any other big side characters I'm missing? I mean, there's some of Sophie's relatives, like her sister and her mother, but they come into play almost not at all. To be honest, for a second I thought Sophie's mom was Sophie's sister. Like, they're pretty hard to tell apart. In any case, they don't play a big part in the movie. Villains, however, there really aren't too many. I really can't say that there's a main villain, at least. There is a royal court sorceress lady, Ms. Solomon, I think it was. Her role in the movie is trying to get Howl, the wizard dude, to help out with this war that's going to be happening. Speaking of the war itself could be considered a big villain in the movie, considering Howl is apparently a pacifist. He calls himself a coward, and other people in the movie call him a coward. And I guess to an extent, his pacifism is because he's looking out for himself, to an extent. But, that's not all of it. Part of it is just legitimate pacifism. Another villain in the movie would be this witch who apparently has a big thing for Howl. She's all wanting that Howl-y, I guess. I don't know. Alright, so I guess that's a very, very vague plot summary. In any case, it's them just surviving all of it, I guess. Really. They're not really on a goal to save anyone. At the very end of the movie, or not the very end, very close to the very end, Howl kind of has the standard "I'm tired of running" thing, and now I have something to protect, because of course he falls in love with Sophie and vice versa. God forbid, we have a single movie these days without a romance involved. But oh well. In any case, plot, nothing too, incredible there. As far as the fact that it's based on a book is concerned, apparently the author is very pleased with the movie. She understands that there are a vast amount. There's a huge bunch of. I haven't even read the book. I've just done some very light research, and even I can tell you that there's a massive gap between the book and the movie. And the author sees this too, and she likes those differences. Not saying that she likes the movie better, just that she understands that movies are a different medium and that these changes had to be made, and she approves of the changes that they made, the way they made them, I guess. Speaking of a lot of those changes, though, from what I could tell, Howl's Moving Castle, the novel, and I haven't read the book, like I said, just did some light research. It seems like a very involved story in the novel, whereas the movie, as I've said, is completely the opposite. The novel seems to have the characters far more, their involvement with, the war and everything else. Is there even a war in the novel? Hey, I'm sorry if I'm misrepresenting the novel in some small ways, but in any case, the book seems far more involved. I don't know if that's just being too vague. Sorry if it is. Whereas in the movie, they're really detached from everything. Like I said, they're just trying to just make it through all of it to the end. And it makes sense. This really, okay, let me try to be a little less rambly here. The first half of the movie, at least, if not a little bit more, is very well paced. You get a lot of information about what's going on politically in this universe. I should say world, I guess. I don't know, whatever. You get a lot of information about what's going on just by overhearing conversations that are happening in the background. And it works out very well. These conversations that you overhear, they sound natural. They don't sound like they just need to shoehorn in some exposition that you might just overhear, wink, wink, No, it's very natural, the way they sneak it in. And you get a lot of information, like I said, about the war that's going to be happening. Like, you hear that they're talking about that this other nation's prince went missing, and that nation is blaming this nation. Stuff like that. And then you're like, okay, that's why this stuff is starting to escalate. And that works. And I don't know. I guess there's a lot of things that it seems like I said, the book would go into a lot more detail in. I mean, that's what books do. They would go into more detail because they have the ability to do that. But I feel like the case of the gap between the movie and the book in the case of Howl's Moving Castle is a bit more extreme than most. Correct me if you feel differently. Maybe this is the opposite to you. I don't know. But in any case, yeah. And like I said, it condenses a lot of it in smart, in natural ways for most of the movie. However, towards the end, I have to say that I did notice it got a little sloppier. They just had, well, first of all, it wasn't set in peacetime city anymore, so they couldn't really rely on the background conversations anymore. And I guess when they lost that tool, they just went with just having just more standard exposition. It's not as bad as a lot of exposition you see in blockbuster movies these days, where they just show up halfway through the movie and tell you everything they want you to know. It's not like that, but it definitely, it doesn't flow as well. It's a lot clunkier. It's a lot less natural. Your immersion is very, very slightly interrupted by the fact that you know that this is exposition for the sake of filling in some gaps for the audience that are just there in the story that they weren't able to properly bridge between book to screen. So yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm usually the guy that says I'd prefer movies to books, but in this case, I think I would honestly. I haven't read the book, so this is me talking out of my ass right now. But I think I would have rather read the book, and that really is saying a lot. Like I just said, I usually prefer movies to books. It's just a matter of taste. Furthermore, I'm a big Miyazaki fan, even though I've not seen 100% of his films. I've seen most of them. But yeah. Important note. I saw the dubbed version, not the subbed version. And a quick note on all that is normally I try to see the subbed version because it's good to keep the original, the original acting because voice acting is actually really really important. Can you imagine like Darth Vader from Star Wars being redubbed in another language? It just would not be the same at all. There's a lot of things that you just can't easily replicate when you're changing a whole language and getting in new actors that speak that language, and without the original director to really help out. It's very, 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 it changes a lot in the movie. However, I will say that I kind of do seek out the dubbed version of movies when they come from languages like Japanese or, that vein. If it's like Spanish, like Pan's Labyrinth Spanish, it's a language that's much more close to English. I still have no clue what they're saying in that language. That's why the subtitles are there. But I don't know. I feel like it's easier to understand, to connect certain, and the way emotionally, I guess, the way they enunciate certain words in the sentence, you kind of get a feel for how that would sound if it were in English, but without having to hear it in English, I guess. This is a bit of a tangent off of the main review here, so I'm going to get back on track. But yeah, that's just a quick little side. In any case, the voice acting in the dubbed version, at least, like I said, I haven't heard the original voice actors. It's good. They all work. I like the fire demon. Can't remember his name actually. Sorry. Like I said, I'm horrible with names. I'm surprised I ever remembered Howl's name, honestly, even though it's in the title. That's how bad I am with the names. But in any case, I liked his voice actor. Yeah, there was like maybe 1-2 times when when it was a little too goofy. Maybe, I don't know. I probably not. Maybe I'm just being too hard on it there. But I liked it. One thing I did notice though, as far as a con in the voice acting is concerned. Okay, the main character Sophie, I forgot to mention this as far as plot is concerned. She's cursed by the witch, so that she's going to be of old age, but it would also appear for some reason that her age is fluctuating throughout the movie, and I guess that's just a part of the curse. It's never really explained, but I'm willing to roll with it because shit's magic. The problem is she has different voice actors for depending on how old she is, and that would be fine, but her accents don't match up at all. When she's old, she has a much more American accent, I guess. And when she's younger, she has a much more English accent. And it didn't really become a problem until she became cursed in the movie, because they kind of had a standard. Everything looked like a futuristic-esque, well, not futuristic, steampunky kind of Britain sort of deal going on, almost. I don't know how accurate a description that is, but that's how it felt to me, so whatever. In any case, so yeah. Overall, though, the voice acting was pretty solid. I don't know how it would have been for the original Japanese version. I can only imagine it would be better because, well, I don't know why actually. I just kind of imagine it being better. Call me an idiot for just assuming things, but. Other things to note, Howl's character, actually rather unique character, I liked him. He started off very standard, he was like, he's all calm 100% of the time, he knows all the shit that's going on around him, he's completely aware, and while other characters around him might be panicking a little, he's just very calm and matter-of-fact about it. And you've seen these characters before. I'm not saying it's a problem that you've seen them before, I'm just saying it's nothing special. However, later on, as the movie continues, his character becomes a little bit more unique. He throws a bit of, he throws temper tantrums and stuff sometimes, and it was actually kind of funny when you see it, because he has his bathroom all set up so that he can dye his hair using magic potions. And when Sophie cleans out the house, because the house is a fucking trash heap, she accidentally, I guess, cleans out all that hair dye of his. So now he can't dye his hair, and he thinks he's hideous without his hair dye, and he throws a fit about it, and it's absolutely hilarious. He starts dissolving into goo. He gets so upset. It's really, really, really interesting. Speaking of dissolving into goo when you get upset, another thing I liked about this movie, I really liked, magic in movies has, for the most part, gotten a little dull. You got your Aladdin, you know, you rub the damn lamp, you get 3 wishes, they can be whatever. You know, it's all kind of standard. You've seen a lot of it by now. Even in Harry Potter movies, like when the Harry Potter movies started off, there was a lot of cool shit. Like you had these chocolate frogs that would just hop around and you had to eat them. And that's kind of weird, you know, you're eating a live animal, really, in a way. But I guess they had cool shit like that. But by the end of the series, they were really just running around with, and the fight sequences were just them. Instead of like wizard duels like you saw in Order of the Phoenix, you saw like them just running around with laser sticks. It was silly. It wasn't magical. It was just, you know, I don't know what it was. It wasn't really sci-fi, really. I mean, you could have replaced their wands with laser rifles from Star Wars, and it would have probably worked the same. But in Howl's Moving Castle, at least, they really nail the whimsy that is required for good magic to be whimsical, I guess. Sorry if that's a bit redundant. Like I said, I haven't had any sleep, so God forbid I'm horrible at talking right now. But it really nailed it. Everything was really just unique and interesting. They have some standard magical things, like, you know, portal doors, like a door that opens up to multiple different places, stuff like that. But they also had some more unique elements in it. And I don't want to really bother myself to go through a list of them here, or B, spoil them for you. Not that it would be like a big spoiler plot wise, but at the same time I feel like these are the kind of things that would be more just be better for you just to be surprised by when they show up. Can't really think of all too much else to say about it. I mean, the fact that it's a Miyazaki film and it comes from, you know, the standard studio, already should tell you a great deal about the film, and, you know, telling you that the animation looks good, like you already know that. Definitely a great movie. I'd probably say it's definitely not one of my favorite Miyazaki films. I'll say that much. Not to say that, like I said, no, it's not a bad movie. It's actually a very good movie. It's just not one of my favorite Miyazaki films. I liked it more than Ponyo, and Ponyo had Liam Neeson in it, at least for the dubbed version. I've seen a lot of these in the dubbed version, now that I think about it. I mean, I know I really seek out Japanese films in dubbed versions, like I said, but any case, yeah, so I really don't know what else I would have to say about this movie before I start talking in circles, which I probably already have a number of points throughout this review, because that's a problem I have. But in any case, best review. If I were to rate this movie, which I am right now, I would give it, I'd say like 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 is my very good mark. 6 out of 10 is an average movie for me. A good average, you know, a little bit above maybe. 5 out of 10 is average, maybe a little bit below. So I'd say 7 out of 10 is a very good movie. You should definitely check it out if you're into Miyazaki films and you haven't seen this one yet. If you read the book and you want to see it in movie form, go ahead and watch this movie. It's great. If you're just into magic and shit in movies and seeing cool shit happen, see this movie. If you're into animations in general and just, I don't know, fairy tales, I guess this is kind of the same recommendation as the last one I just gave, but yes, there's a lot of good reasons to see this movie, I guess. So yeah, that's that. Have a great day or evening or night or whatever, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All right, bye-bye.